Fifine has just released two different microphones aimed at the beginning content creator or musician. There's the K669D and the K669C, and one is a dynamic microphone and the other a condenser. And when they told me the price of these mics, I said, that's ridiculous, because they cost $37 each. And it's ironic because when Fifine reached out to me, I was just in the middle of making a video about a $50 dynamic microphone. Now, $50 seems awfully cheap for a microphone, but then these microphones show up and they're even cheaper, and I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be rough. But you know what? I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Fifine is aiming these mics at the beginning content creator, and they're definitely priced for someone just starting out. But considering how they're designed, are they really a good fit for the beginning content creator? We're going to talk about that in a moment. So I'm going to run these two mics through some testing, and I'll be curious to hear what you think. Can these ultra cheap mics be used for serious work or even semi-serious work? And because I just gotta know, I'm gonna compare these two mics to some more expensive mics just to see if, they can hold their own. Even though these mics share the same model number, they are mechanically very different. I mean, dynamic mics work in a completely different way than condenser mics do. What the mics do share, though, besides the name, is the same basic size and shape, and they're kind of on the small side, but they come in the same size box and everything, and they also feel very well made. There aren't any loose parts, and they feel pretty heavy for their size. Each mic comes with a mic clip and a very small table stand, like this. Please throw away this table stand. Jeez. I mean, nothing against Fifine, but table stands or desk stands, they're just awful. They pick up all sorts of vibration from your desk, and small ones like this put the mic way too far from your mouth. You're going to pick up all sorts of background noise if you use a stand like this. Just get rid of it. Buy a boom arm or even a floor stand. Both of these microphones have a cardioid polar pattern, and that just means that they're sensitive in one direction, in the front, and they reject sounds from the side and especially the back. Now, this is the polar pattern that most content creators want. What these mics are both lacking, though, and you might be able to hear it as I'm talking, is a pop filter. You really want a pop filter whenever you use a mic with vocals or spoken word, not just to reduce pops or plosives, but because it keeps the spit off the mic. So you'll need to buy a pop filter separately, but I mean, hey, you just saved a ton of money on the mic. But as we'll see later, there's a surprise with the dynamic mic that actually reduces the need for a pop filter. So we are listening to the K669C, which is the condenser version, and it's a side address mic. There's a logo that indicates the front of the mic, so make sure that's pointing at you. And a nice touch is that you can rotate the mic in the mic clip, so it's easy to position it however you want. Coincidentally, the very first USB mic I ever bought was a Fifine K669. So if the model number sounds familiar, you're not imagining things. I asked the company if their new condenser mic is related in some way to the older USB mic, and they said the difference is that the new one connects via XLR. So basically it's the same mic then? Not quite. On the USB version, you can see the diaphragm and the capsule through the grill pretty clearly, but on the new XLR version of the mic, it's much harder to see any detail, and I can't take the top off this mic without getting a screwdriver out. So after shining a flashlight all around, I've come to the conclusion that the head basket, which is the metal mesh on top, is thicker than the USB version somehow. And also, there appears to be some sort of covering over the diaphragm of the new XLR version. Fifine tells me it's an upgrade, but I mean, that's all I know. But the shape of the capsule inside, even though it's hard to see detail, looks really just about identical to the USB one. So I know what you're thinking, hey, why don't we compare the new condenser mic to the original USB mic? And that's what I have on the boom arm right now. This is the original USB mic. It's just plugged directly into my computer. So, what do you think? Does it sound like the new condenser mic from Fifine? Fifine told me that the advantage of this XLR version of the mic is that it's more flexible. And I agree, because, you can plug it into an analog mixer or a USB preamp like I've got here, and you can also use it alongside other microphones. With USB mics, it's tough to use more than one of them at a time. And my biggest concern with USB mics is that you can't protect against overloading and digital distortion. If you clip your signal on a USB mic, there is no undoing that. But with my XLR mic, I can run it through an analog limiter or compressor before it goes into my computer, and that way I'm less likely to ruin my sound with clipping. That's the main reason I use this Volt 176, by the way, because it has an analog limiter built in. When I'm recording, I'm usually right up on a mic, like an inch away from the grill, and this helps cut down on room sound, and it also adds some proximity effect. However, I think the K669C sounds better if I back off a little bit. My voice just sounds, I don't know, more natural if it's about a fist away. So if I get too close, it sounds a little boomy. So I'm going to do a quick plosive test on this, and then we'll try another condenser mic and see how that stacks up to it. So Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Now, of course, my P's are shooting by the mic here, right on the mic now. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Oh yeah, I can see on my meters that really got crushed. Let me put a pop filter on though. It doesn't come with a pop filter, but I'm gonna just grab one. All right, here we go. Pop filter. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Yeah, still getting some plosive sounds, but the pop filter really does help with that. So just for a quick reference, this is one of my favorite budget mics. It's the SE Electronics X1A. Now, like the K669C, it's a condenser mic, and it costs about $100. It does have some features the Fifine mic doesn't have, such as EQ, and it's got a pad, but I'm using everything just kind of neutral and normaled out. So what do you think? How does it compare to the K669C? The K669D is a dynamic microphone, and even though it has the same model number, it's a completely different mic. It's an end address mic, so that means you speak into the top of it. And with this mic, you can actually unscrew the head basket and take a look inside. And this I found really surprising. Fifine has actually gone to the trouble of putting internal pop filtering inside this mic. They don't mention it anywhere on their website or in the manual, but sure enough, there's foam on the inside. I wondered why I couldn't see through the grill at all, and now I know, because that foam was blocking light passing through it. This internal pop filter means that you can get right up on the grill, and you're still protected somewhat from plosives. And you pretty much have to get that close to this mic because, like most dynamic mics, the K669D has very low sensitivity. It requires a lot of amplification to get decent signal, and you're probably going to be right up on the mic to get the volume you need. But with this mic, that's probably also the sound you're going to want as well. When you get up close to this mic, you get a pretty decent proximity effect, and the mic starts sounding nice and full. However, if you back off a little further away, it gets pretty thin pretty fast. All right, let's do a plosive test on this mic as well. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. But of course, my air is just shooting right by the mic. Hair's right on the mic. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. All right, like I said, these don't come with pop filters, but this is actually the Zoom ZDM1 pop filter. I'm going to put it on the Fifine mic here and do plosives through the pop filter. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So it's pretty obvious that this mic handles plosives better than the condenser mic. And part of the reason is that internal pop filtering. But also, dynamic mics typically handle plosives better than condenser mics anyway. Okay, just so we can compare, here's the Zoom ZDM1 mic I reviewed a few weeks ago. This goes for about $50. Now, in terms of features, these two mics are pretty similar. Neither of them have any switches or controls. Now, the ZDM1 does come with a pop filter, but that's really about the only difference. I mean, other than the sound. So, what do you think? Can you hear a difference? How does this sound compared to the Fifine mic? Tell me in the comments which one you like better. If you look at the frequency charts, both of the Fifine mics have a pretty steep roll-off below 100 Hertz. You're not, for example, going to want to record a kick drum with either one of these microphones. For voice, though, that's fine. There isn't a lot of frequencies in that range for most voices, and the roll-off will also help reduce the effect of plosives. And if you're up close to the mic like I am now, the proximity effect is going to boost the low end somewhat to compensate. The condenser version of this mic, and you know when I say that, it's not a version of the mic. They're completely different mics. So I guess I should say the K669C has a slight rise in its high end. It's about 3 dB or so, it looks like. The dynamic mic's frequency response is way more dramatic, and you've got some odd peaks that give the high end of this microphone a little character. So are these the perfect beginning microphones? Yes and no. For a content creator who doesn't want to think about technical stuff at all, a USB mic is going to be simpler than either one of these. You just plug it in and it works. The K669C and D are both XLR mics though, so they're going to need some sort of preamp and USB interface to get the signal into your computer, and I think that does add a little bit to the learning curve. If you buy a condenser mic, you need a preamp or a mixer with phantom power, otherwise it's just not going to work at all. And if you buy the dynamic mic, you're going to need some pretty serious high quality gain from your preamp, or you're going to need a signal booster or something like that, and either one of those is going to cost more than both of the microphones combined. If you're a new content creator and you can't be bothered by technical stuff, just get a USB mic. Heck, get the original K669 if you want. But if you're a content creator who wants to save money and is planning to expand or improve your sound someday, I mean, get these mics. I mean, for the price, why not get both of them? But if you want to know which mic you should really be using, watch this.